The mysterious discovery. Captain Bellows stood on the bridge of the Zephyr, his eyes fixed on the holographic displays that showed sprawling ruins across a distant planet's surface. These weren't just any alien ruins. They bore an uncanny resemblance to early human architecture. Massive pyramids, crumbling temples, and eroded statues with human-like features spread out before him. "Captain, you need to see this," First Officer Zan said, his voice tight with urgency. Bellows stepped closer to the displays, his mouth going dry. Science Officer Kelloff added, "Sir, I've cross-referenced these structures with our limited data on early human civilizations. The similarities are striking. But that's impossible. We're in an uncharted sector, light years from Earth." A heavy silence fell over the bridge. If the ruins were truly of human origin, it would mean humans achieved interstellar travel long before the Hazari or any known species. Bellows clenched his fists, a sense of destiny taking hold. "Prep a landing party. I want our top researchers and a security detail assembled in the hangar in 10 cycles. If there's a chance these ruins are connected to humans, we can't afford to miss this opportunity." The Zephyr descended through the planet's thin atmosphere, the ruins growing larger on the view screens. The ship settled onto the barren ground with a thud, kicking up clouds of ancient dust. Bellows checked the readouts on his wrist computer. Breathable air, tolerable radiation levels, no signs of life. A dead world with only the crumbling bones of a once great civilization. As the hangar doors opened, revealing the alien landscape beyond, Bellows knew they were standing on the precipice of a discovery that could change everything. The mysteries hidden on this desolate world could hold the key to humanity's past and the galaxy's future. Bellows stepped out of the Zephyr, his boots crunching on the barren ground. The air was thin and cold, the distant sun providing little warmth. Before him, the ruins of the ancient city stretched out as far as the eye could see, towering structures of stone and metal looming overhead, their surfaces weathered and pitted by the passage of time. "Incredible," Zan breathed, his eyes wide with wonder. "I've never seen anything like it." "This is a momentous discovery," Bellows nodded, awe and trepidation warring within him. "But what secrets do these ruins hold, and what dangers might lurk within?" They approached a massive pyramid-like structure dominating the skyline. The walls were covered in intricate carvings and hieroglyphs. Zan stepped forward, running his fingers over the ancient writing. "This is an early form of human language," he said, his voice trembling with excitement. "I recognize some of the symbols. Give me a moment to decipher it." As Zan worked, Bellows and the others explored further. They found more buildings, each a marvel of engineering and artistry, but there was something eerie about the place, a sense of emptiness and loss that hung heavy in the air. Suddenly, Zan called out, "I've got it. The name of this place is Arcturus, and there's more. It says the people who built this city came from a distant dying world. They were the first humans to leave Earth and seek a new home among the stars." Bellows felt a chill run down his spine. The implications were staggering. If this was true, humans achieved interstellar travel far earlier than anyone had ever imagined. But what happened to them? Why did their civilization fall? As if in answer to his unspoken question, a shout echoed from deeper within the ruins. Lieutenant Rask, one of the security officers, waved them over. "Captain, I think you need to see this." They'd rushed to his location and found themselves standing before a massive chamber. In the center, a holographic projection flickered to life, coalescing into the image of a man, his face stern and lined with age. "Greetings," the hologram said, its voice thin and static-filled. "I am Elias Vega, the last Prime Minister of Arcturus. If you are seeing this, then our worst fears have come to pass, and our civilization has fallen." Vega explained the history of Arcturus, how they once thrived on this world, but were ultimately brought low by a series of cataclysmic events, including a war with an aggressive alien species. In a last-ditch effort to preserve their legacy, they hid their most precious artifacts and records in stasis chambers beneath the city. Remember us, Vega pleaded as the hologram faded. Remember that we were once a proud and mighty people. Let our story be a warning to those who come after. Silence fell over the chamber as the team tried to process what they had just learned. Bellows felt a weight settle on his shoulders. This discovery would change everything, but it also raised more questions than answers. He was about to give orders to search the ruins further when his comm crackled to life. "Captain, this is the Zephyr. We've detected an unknown vessel entering the system. It's moving into orbit above the planet. Your orders." Bellows felt a sense of unease. Who could have followed them here? And what did they want? He had a feeling the answers they sought might be more dangerous than they ever imagined. "Understood, Zephyr," he said, his voice grim. "Keep monitoring the situation. We'll continue our search down here, but be ready to extract us at a moment's notice. Something tells me this is not nearly finished." The confrontation. The ground trembled beneath their feet as the unknown ship touched down near the ruins. Captain Bellows' comm crackled with urgent reports from his security team. "Unknown vessel landed 500 meters northeast, sir. No signs of hostility yet." He turned to Dr. Zan, who was furiously scanning the hieroglyphs on the chamber walls. "Anything new?" Before Zan could respond, a deep voice boomed from the shadows. "Your presence here is a violation of Kren's sovereign territory." Bellows spun, hand instinctively reaching for his sidearm. A towering figure stepped into view, clad in gleaming armor adorned with intricate patterns. The being's face was hidden behind an ornate mask, but its eyes glowed with an unsettling intensity. "I am Zark, War Master of the Kren Empire," the figure announced in an archaic Hazari dialect. "You will surrender all artifacts and data collected from these ruins immediately." Bellows' mind reeled. The Kren, here. He took a steadying breath. "I am Captain Bellows of the Hazari Exploration Fleet. We mean no disrespect to your people, War Master. These ruins hold knowledge that could benefit all species. Surely we can." Silence. Zark's voice echoed through the chamber. "The legacy of Arcturus belongs to the Kren alone. Comply, or we will reduce your ship and these ruins to ash." The air grew thick with tension. Bellows opened his mouth to respond when a low rumble shook the floor. A seam appeared in the stonework, widening to reveal a staircase descending into darkness. "The stasis chamber," Zan whispered, eyes wide. Bellows made a split-second decision. "Dr. Zan with me. Security Team Alpha, hold this position." They plunged into the depths, the sounds of conflict fading behind them. The staircase opened into a vast underground complex. Rows of sleek metallic pods lined the walls, each containing perfectly preserved Arcturan artifacts. "Incredible," Zan breathed, running his scanner over a nearby console. "Captain, look at this." A holographic display flickered to life, showing a star map studded with glowing points. Other human colonies, Bellows realized, spread across the galaxy. As they frantically gathered data, Bellows' comm chirped. "Captain, Kren forces are advancing. The Zephyr reports enemy ships in orbit." Bellows cursed. They were out of time. "Download everything you can, Doctor. We need to find a way to end this conflict before." A distant explosion rocked the complex. Dust rained from the ceiling as the battle above intensified. "Sir," Zan's voice was urgent. "There's more here. Records of the Arcturan fall. It wasn't just the alien war. There was infighting and some kind of planetary disaster." Bellows nodded grimly. "History repeating itself. We need to get this information out, show both sides what's at stake." They raced back towards the surface, arms laden with priceless artifacts and data drives. The fate of two civilizations hung in the balance, with the secrets of humanity's ancient past caught in the crossfire. As they emerged into chaos, Bellows knew the real challenge was just beginning. The ground shook as explosions rocked the planet's surface. Captain Bellows steadied himself against a console, his fingers flying over the controls as he frantically downloaded terabytes of Arcturan data. "Screens, Captain. Look at this," Zan exclaimed, his eyes wide with excitement. These records detail an ancient war between the Arcturans and the Kryn. As they delved deeper into the archives, a tragic story unfolded. The Arcturans had tried to broker peace, offering a treaty to end the bloodshed. But before it could be signed, everything fell apart. Zan's hands trembled as he read the final entries. A rogue Kryn faction sabotaged the peace talks. The resulting battle, it wiped out the Arcturans entirely. Belos's comm crackled to life, filling the chamber with the sounds of orbital combat. Zan's face set with grit. "Captain, we need to contact Zark. This information could stop the fighting." Nodding grimly, Belos patched through to the Zephyr bridge. "Get me a direct line to the Kryn commander." Moments later, Zark's imposing visage filled their screen. Zan stepped forward, his voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. "War Master Zark, we've uncovered the truth about your people's ancient conflict with the Arcturans. It was all based on a misunderstanding. Your ancestors nearly made peace before tragedy struck." Zan laid out the evidence, appealing to Zark's sense of honor. "You have a chance to right an ancient wrong, to forge the peace that was lost so long ago." Silence stretched for what felt like an eternity. Finally, Zark spoke, his voice heavy with the weight of history. "Ceasefire. I will meet with you in the ruins." The tension in the air was palpable as Zark's massive form filled the doorway of the underground chamber. Belos and Zan led him to a pristine stasis pod, its surface shimmering with an otherworldly light. "Within this pod," Zan explained, "lies the original peace treaty between your peoples, a symbol of what could have been, and what still might be." Zark's eyes widened as he beheld the ancient document. His voice, when he spoke, was filled with a mixture of awe and regret. "For centuries, we have carried the burden of this conflict, never knowing its true origins. Perhaps it is time to lay that burden down." As the ceasefire held, Belos and Zan pored over the star map they had discovered. Zan's finger traced the glowing points scattered across the galactic arm. "Each of these could be another lost human colony. The answers we seek about humanity's past. They're out there, waiting to be found." Zark approached, his hulking form casting a shadow over the holographic display. "You will need aid in this quest. The Kryn Empire stands ready to assist, in the spirit of the peace we should have achieved long ago." Belos nodded, a smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. "Then let us embark on this journey together. There are mysteries waiting to be unraveled and a shared history to be discovered." As the Zephyr and the Kryn vessels broke orbit, setting course for the nearest point on the ancient star map, Zan couldn't help but feel a thrill of excitement. They were venturing into the unknown, chasing the echoes of humanity's forgotten past across the stars. The hidden outpost. The Zephyr's engines pulsed as it entered the remote star cluster, the void of space stretching endlessly before them. Zan stood at the viewport, his breath fogging the reinforced glass as he gazed at the swirling maelstrom ahead. "My God," he whispered, eyes wide. "It's beautiful." The bridge erupted into a flurry of activity as the crew worked to stabilize their approach. Alarms blared as radiation levels spiked, the ship's hull groaning under the immense forces. Belos leaned over the console, brow furrowed. Impossible. Nothing could survive in there. Zan nodded, understanding. Unless it was built to. He straightened, voice firm. "Helm, initiate precise thruster burns. Get us into a stable orbit around that disk." As they drew closer, the energy readings intensified. Through the chaos of superheated plasma and radiation, the impossible took shape, an artificial structure embedded within the very fabric of spacetime. Zark's gravelly voice came over the comm. "Captain Belos, my ships are detecting the anomaly as well. What are your orders?" Belos exchanged a look with Zan. "We go in, but not with the full crew. Prepare a shuttle." Minutes later, Zan found himself strapped into a heavily shielded craft alongside Belos, Zark, and a small team. As they detached from the Zephyr, the full might of the black hole's gravitational pull became apparent. Warning klaxons blared as they breached the event horizon. Zan's stomach lurching as his body felt stretched and compressed simultaneously. The shuttle's hull creaked ominously. "We're losing structural integrity," the pilot shouted. "Another minute of this and we'll—" Suddenly, everything went still. An eerie calm settled over the cabin as they crossed an invisible threshold. Before them hung an impossibility, a massive ring-shaped structure rotating slowly, its sleek lines defying the chaos around it. "Sure enough," Zan muttered, a vast aperture yawning in the ring's outer hull. As they approached, sensors detected an atmospheric envelope within. With trepidation, they guided the shuttle through. The interior took Zan's breath away. Sprawling habitats stretched as far as the eye could see, complete with climate controls and water recyclers. But it was the scattered cryostasis chambers that sent a chill down his spine. They approached one, its frosted surface clearing to reveal a desiccated figure inside, humanoid, but clearly ancient. An Arcturan, preserved for eons in this cosmic refuge. Why here? Bellows wondered aloud. What could drive them to seek shelter in such a place? As they explored further, evidence of a cataclysmic event became clear. Scorched ruins and hastily constructed shelters told a story of desperation and flight. In the central hub, they found him, a withered corpse slumped before a still-functioning data terminal. Zan's hands shook as he recovered the database core, establishing a quantum link to their shuttle computers. As encrypted data streamed across the screen, a single word in ancient script stood out. Zan's eyes widened as the implications sank in. "Captain," he breathed. This changes everything we thought we knew about human history." As they made their way back to the shuttle, the weight of their discovery hung heavy. The secrets of humanity's cosmic past lay before them, waiting to be unraveled. And with it, the power to reshape the very fabric of galactic civilization. The Zephyr shuddered as it pulled away from the black hole's crushing embrace. Zan's fingers danced across the control panel, securing the precious data they'd recovered. He glanced at Bellows, who stood rigid at the helm, plotting their next jump. "Coordinates locked," Bellows announced. "Prepare for—" A violent tremor rocked the ship. Alarms blared as the view screen filled with a colossal shape materializing from the void. Zan's breath caught in his throat. The vessel before them dwarfed the Zephyr, its sleek lines hinting at devastating firepower. "Evasive maneuvers," Bellows barked, but it was too late. A crackling transmission cut through the chaos. "Unidentified vessel, this is Admiral Carrack of the Free Human Armada. Stand down and prepare to be boarded." Zan's eyes widened. "Human," he whispered, scarcely believing his ears. Bellows and Zark exchanged glances. The Kren leader's voice rumbled over the comm. "We have little choice, Captain. We cannot hope to outrun or outfight such a force." Moments later, the Zephyr's flight deck swarmed with armored figures, their weapons humming with lethal energy as they secured the area. Zan's heart pounded as he watched a massive figure stride through the airlock. Admiral Carrack towered over them all, his battle-scarred armor gleaming under the harsh lights, his oversized plasma rifle looking like a toy in his massive hands. As the helmet retracted, Zan gasped. The man's face was a roadmap of scars and hard-won experience, his eyes burning with an intensity that made Zan want to shrink away. Zan opened his mouth to speak, but Carrack silenced him with a raised hand. When the Admiral spoke, his words came in a guttural, archaic form of English that sent shivers down Zan's spine. "You tread the path of the ancients," Carrack intoned. "We know what you seek, for we too have seen the ruins that belch forth whispers of humanity's glorious cosmic dawn." As Carrack continued, Zan listened in awe. The Admiral spoke of a lost human colony forced to carve out an existence in the harshest reaches of space. He told of generations spent chasing whispers and legends, all in pursuit of something called the Omega Point, a convergence of technology and metaphysics that could usher in a new era for humanity. When Zan tried to explain their own mission, Carrack's piercing gaze silenced him. The Admiral's voice grew cold. "You may walk the same path, But make no mistake, the legacy of the ancients belongs to humanity alone. Your alien allies can never be trusted with such power. Carrick's ultimatum rang out in the tense silence. Surrender all Arcturan data to us now, or face the consequences of defying humanity's true inheritors. Zan's mind raced. He glanced at Bellows, whose hand hovered near his sidearm, then at Zark, whose massive form seemed to vibrate with barely contained fury. The weight of the moment pressed down on him. One wrong move could ignite a war that would consume not just their expedition, but entire civilizations. In that moment, Zan understood. The secrets they sought weren't just scientific curiosities or historical footnotes. They were the keys to humanity's future, a future that now teetered on the edge of a knife. He took a deep breath, acutely aware of the heavily armed Marines surrounding them, of the Titanic warship looming outside. Whatever he said next would shape the course of human history across the stars. The ghosts of the past whispered in his ear, urging him to find a way to preserve the Arcturans.